Welcome to Reread, where I'm rereading through the expanded universe in chronological order. And folks, we are on book 11 of the Star Wars Episode 1 Adventures, written by Ryder Wenham. This one's called Pirates Beyond the Sea, Somewhere Waiting for Me. This adventure picks up from the last adventure. I forgot to mention that Jar Jar in the whole Brawl for It All race, he came in number 13. They don't explain how. They don't even make a mention of it. He just said Jar Jar placed 13th and Boss Nass placed 48. He was very proud to still finish in the top 50 at his age. And I was thinking, well, how did Jar Jar, who's dumb, get to 13? Is this like the easiest race ever? Anyway, Boss Nass, he sees the droids that Fossa has killed, and he's a little concerned. Fossa won number 1, by the way. Tarpals got number 2. Fossa won. She barely beat Tarpals, I think, but she killed some droids. And the mechanics, Boss said, would count for extra points. So maybe they crossed close together and she won. I can't remember. Anyway, Tarpal shook her hand. It was a fair race. And so now the book's picked up where they're looking at these mechanics here and they're trying to see what's going on. Meanwhile, there's a Gungan historian. I guess he's not for sports. He's a history nerd. I know what that's like. And he wants to go up to the sacred ruins to do some studying. And that's where he gets captured by the pirate and says, "You're not going to get away with this." And he goes, "We'll see about that." You know, he's going to take all these nice Gungan artifacts. Well, eventually they get the droids back up and they start talking to him. Through a little Gungan trickery, they get them to reveal what the plan is. And so then they go on a rescue mission to rescue, I think his name is Reb Bean or something. That's the historian. And to capture the pirate and shut him down and to kill all his droids, right? Get them off the planet. Because Boss Nass is like, why would we have an enemy here? You know, we don't have any enemies. We live under the sea. People leave us alone, we leave them alone. And then when he hears about the pirate, he's bombad mad. And so all the Jar Jar and Tarpals are up there trying to stop them. It follows Jar Jar for a little bit and then Tarpals for a little bit more. So the game books are actually in a box in my closet. But I'm guessing you could play it as both of them now since there aren't that many notable Gungans to play as. And the action switches. Well, Jar Jar eventually gets caught in a trap that hangs him by his legs upside down. Tarpal says, "I'll come back for you, Jar Jar," and he's taken off after the pirate. Well, the pirate escapes, but they capture the pirate ship, and that's good enough. Boss Nass is happy. They're gone. Good riddance to them. We don't need pirates anymore. And he goes, "But you know what? We haven't seen Jar Jar. Have you seen Jar Jar?" And Tarpal's going, "Oh no, Jar Jar." And so then he goes back into the woods to free Jar Jar. Jar Jar has passed out because he's been upside down for so long. Tarpals lets him down. Jar Jar's kind of waking up. He's like, "I think I passed out there. Did you catch the bad guys and stuff?" And he's like, "Okay, just hang in there, Jar Jar." And Jar Jar's like, "Oh, I feel very woozy. I may go to sleep." And Tarpal's like, "You may have a concussion." And Jar Jar goes, "Well, if I don't make it, will you promise me something?" He said, "You'll make it, Jar Jar." He said, "But if I don't?" There's like some drama at the end. And Tarpal's, "Sure, what do you want?" "I want to see the Bongo Rally race," which is the last book. And he goes, "Sure, Jar Jar, we go watch the Bongo Rally race together." And he goes, "Oh, me to think first row seats would be good." He went, and Tarpals just kind of stops. He went, "Mm-hmm. And how about free munchies too?" And, it says, Jar Jar licks his lips and goes, muy, muy. What an idiot. But it actually is a funny moment because Tarpals drops him and was like, "Get up, Jar Jar." He knows he's fake and he's like, oh well, you remember you promised a Bongo Rally. And so he's running off after him. And Ryder, there's a certain charm. I remember when I first reviewed these, I remembered loving them and thinking, wow, when I saw it was going to be the next story arc was going to be about Jar Jar Binks, I thought it was going to be like Queen Amidala. I really did. I thought, okay, we've got the Jedi, we got Anakin, we got to get Padme, right? That's what the next arc's going to be. And I was like, Jar Jar's the next arc. And I was like, ugh. But reading them, I remember thinking, oh, this isn't that bad for a Jar Jar story arc. And to be honest, it isn't. Now, again, the Misa Yusa Isa Usa, that kind of stuff gets old, and you just kind of pick out a few words, try to get the gist of the sentence, and then move on. But other than that, Ryder's doing a good job making a Gungan story. How many Gungan children's books are there? This. I think that's it. So it's interesting. I wouldn't want, Gungan detective fiction or anything like that, any other version of stories of Gungans. But for what we got, Rider didn't do that bad a job. But I'm not finished yet. How does it all end in book 12? Well, I'll let you know next time in another video.